Hello, and welcome to Enneagram 5 Live.
Hello, hello. We're back.
We are back. This one was a bit impromptu because we actually had an episode scheduled for this week. And then for the second time we've tried to record an episode on expectations. We actually had a really great conversation this time. The first time we started the conversation, got 20 minutes into it, and then we're like, we don't know where to go with this, and so we just dropped it. It's the only one we've ever dropped, and that was a while ago. That was a couple of years ago. So then we tried to do it again a couple weeks ago, and had a great conversation. And then during the editing process, realized that the file was corrupted or something. I don't know.
A lot of it just randomly drops sound in multiple places throughout every sentence, so it was completely unusable. I couldn't edit it out, and so I was so sad because literally we talked. Obviously there's a lot I had to cut out, but because we did it a little bit unconventionally, I hit record while we were still talking about something, and then it just kind of leaned because I was like, I see where this conversation's going already, and it was genius. I was having a good moment. It was a creative moment. And it came. We got it like an hour and a half of conversation out of it too. So I edited out like 30 minutes, and we still had over an hour. And it was like it was going to be perfect. And then, of course, the audio was messed up. So we'll have to give it another shot. Third time's the charm.
Third time is the charm. Hopefully.
I hope everybody loves it.
But anyway, because of that, we were like, hey, let's just do a live this week. So we're doing a live.
Yep.
We need to do one anyway.
Yeah.
So if you're watching, give us a shout out in the comments here, and we will say hi. All right. So as a reminder on these, we like to follow it's kind of a standard format. So we'll do a red, yellow, green check-in, and then we will do current curiosities. So what rabbit holes we've been going down lately. Myth busting, and this week we're going to talk about whether or not fives are great listeners, and then we'll do a would you rather 5 edition, and then we'll talk about growth versus comfort. So places where we've had some wins recently with growth, each of us, and places where we're still kind of leaning into comfort and not stepping out where we think we should. So all that to say, Cody, red, yellow, green.
Let's see. I'm going to say probably yellow, like leaning into red. I've been feeling that job burnout. If we had a season coming up, then it would be a good indication. If we still did seasons, that I was probably going to change jobs. No,
Irene says hello from California, by the way.
Oh, hi, Irene. I'm sure the weather there is much nicer than it has been here. Leaning in, I guess, because I've just been really burned out. I don't know if anybody keeps up with the alcohol industry, which is what I work in primarily, and it's numbers aren't looking great. So it's been a lot harder to sell alcohol, especially as somebody who doesn't even really drink alcohol anymore. So like that's obviously, it's kind of a weird thing to be in that place, I think. Although I will say I would rather be someone who doesn't drink alcohol and works in the alcohol industry than somebody who drinks too much alcohol and works in the alcohol industry.
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the thing. And of course we just bought a house, which is why I'm sitting in the void right now, because I can't figure out what to do with the space. We'll get to that in the next section. Just a lot of moving parts in my life lately. And I spent weeks without having like my personal space sorted out, really. I spent a few weeks there and had COVID in the meantime. And so it was just like getting sick and not feeling up to or having the energy to work out my space and figure out what I wanted to do with it was like eating away at me while I was laying in bed feeling like garbage. And so, it's just been a rough few weeks, but mostly except for, maybe like job related things, which are just job related things. I feel like it's just been, It's been one of those, just a month. It's been a month
Mm.
of just moving around, doing a lot of things all at once, constantly having multiple things to do every single day. And it's been very stressful. I've been trying to find time to, for myself as much as I can, but yeah, it's been a struggle. So I feel like I'm starting to come out on the other end of it at this point. Like this last week, I was like, if you had asked me last week, if we'd done this episode last week, I would have been like the darkest shade of blood red. But
Gina says, "Hello, darkness, my old friend."
exactly. That is like my theme song for the last few weeks. I've just been like setting it, like sitting in it too, just been like, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with being like dark and depressed. Like in a weird way, I almost like, this is going to sound kind of weird, I guess, but like, I feel like lately, sometimes I get into like that darker place and I just kind of like, I won't say revel in it, but like I appreciate it. It's more of an observational stand. I can kind of almost separate myself from that feeling and be like, I need to be here for a little while. It's fine. Everything's fine. Maybe this is my brain's way of telling me it needs to rest and not do so much and not think so much, because my body is for sure telling me that it wants to be apathetic and, not do things right now. So like, I'm just going to sit in it for a little while and it's fine. And honestly, it was an easier experience for me personally to do that. So, yeah, but I can feel myself, coming out of the other end of it at this point. So we'll see. By next week, I will hopefully be green. We'll see. What about you?
Yeah, I'm in a similar place. I would say that I'm yellow, and I haven't gone down into red, but I feel like I had really good momentum, and then I got sick.
Yeah.
And then
from me.
Yeah. We went to help Cody and Madison move into their house, and they rewarded us with COVID. So
I got everybody sick. I think I almost killed Madison's grandmother with that COVID, actually. She had to be in the hospital for a week, so it was a whole thing.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so you got to love that.
Man. Yeah,
I didn't know I had it, just before anybody asks. I didn't know I had it when we were moving. I literally thought it was a cold or like bad allergies. So anyway, moving on.
Yeah, I've just had low energy and like brain fog since then, and it's been hard for me to get back into it. And I haven't been working out since then.
Yeah.
And I think that's another big thing too. Plus, like you moved away, so and I say moved away, but like I'm not gonna drive 20 minutes to go to the gym.
Yeah.
so I got to get back into the habit of that. I'm thinking about just biting the bullet and doing a personal trainer to just kind of get me into that. We'll see how that goes. But the other thing too is I've just been, the stuff we talked about in the Getting Older episode.
Yeah.
A lot of that has been weighing on me. And then I went to visit my parents this weekend.
Ah, okay.
Which was good. Like we had a good time, and we took the kids to the Adventure Science Center in Nashville on Sunday. So that was fun to show them.
Is that the building that looks like a pyramid on the outside?
Yes.
Okay, I always wondered what was in there.
Yeah. The cool thing about it is that pyramid in the middle of it is like a 4-story playground. And so you can go all the way up into the very top of the pyramid and look out, because there's a glass pyramid on top.
Wow.
And you can like look out over the city, but you have to climb up like through the playground stuff. Like I went up there with them and I barely fit up there. But the cool thing was, this is my second time there. The first time there was in 2017, and they do parties like for adults, like in the evenings. So like they open to public hours, and then like people can rent them out. And so cool. I went to a conference in 2017, and the after party was at the Adventure Science Center. And so there was a bunch of adults drinking and trying to go up to the top of the pyramid, and they have this little this like thing that like an EEG monitor or something that you put on your forehead, and it measures your brain waves, and it's really cool. There's one on each side, and in the middle is this little ball that I guess there's a magnet under it, and it moves based on who has the most relaxed mind. So you sit down and hit go, and you have to relax your mind. And the more you relax your mind, it'll move the ball towards the other person. And so
Whoa.
yeah, so we were doing that. We were basically turned it into a drinking game when we were not with the kids when I was there the first time.
Sure, yeah. That's pretty cool. That's
Yeah,
really neat that they could do that.
It was really cool. So we went with the kids this weekend, and that was fun. But it was just, I don't know, man. It's like seeing my parents age and have different health stuff that they're going through, and
yeah,
it just hits me harder now, and
Yeah.
realizing that, I turned 39 next month. It's my last year of being in my 30s, and there's a lot of stuff that I thought that I would, I thought my life would be a lot different going into my 40s in some ways.
Yeah, same.
And so I've just there's been a lot of sort of existential angst I've been dealing with. And normally like that would be red for me, but on the other side of it, we launched the Fully 5 Accelerator a few weeks ago, and that's just been fantastic. Like, even though like I'm the one facilitating it, I'm also participating and like the calls and stuff, and the interactions in the forum, and man, it's been so good. Like, I've just I've loved watching people. It's so there's we talked about this a couple of calls ago, actually. As fives, we live our lives feeling like the outsiders, like we don't really quite fit. And because of that, when we're out in the world, we tend to hold back and reserve, and it's a lot harder for us to naturally engage. And so this was kind of like an experiment for me. Like, we did a beta test, earlier this year, but this is a larger group, and so my hypothesis was like, if some magical things would happen when you get a bunch of fives together, because it's just fives in the room, right? And it's like exceeded my expectations, because what happens is that because we all have that baseline of kind of feeling like the outsider, we all have that baseline understanding of what it feels like to be a five. Like, we can just check all this pretense like at the door, and we don't have to explain ourselves. Like, we don't have to put all this mental energy towards like trying to figure out, if we're going to fit in or what the right thing is to say.
Yeah.
And because of that, we can come into the space and like let our guard down so much quicker, and just relax and like take a deep breath. And like every call, we start with a grounding exercise, or we do like breath work.
Yeah.
It just helps us settle in and be present. And people are like, someone made a comment, like, I'm saying things that on these calls I never thought I would say out loud to another person, right? And it's just because we're able to show up and like, and what this does for us is it helps us practice that engaging in a place where, in an environment where the stakes are low. And because of that, we can get to practice. We get a lot more reps in, so that we gain that confidence. And then people are noticing already, like, as like out in the world interacting with other people who aren't fives, like, there are noticeable changes. Like, they're getting comments of like, hey, I've noticed you're much more like connected, or seem to be much more present or much more relaxed. And it's because we're practicing how to be our authentic selves in a place where it's like a safer place where the stakes are low. So and that's giving us more confidence to go out into the world. So it's just been like this really cool experience for me that has been really life-giving for me, as well as the people in the group. But because like I wasn't expecting it to carry me in the way that it has as well, like through some hard stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
And so that's why I'm not red. I think it's just having that weekly cadence of being with the group. So yeah, not to make, I don't want to make this an infomercial for the accelerator, but if you're interested, we'll have a link in the description, because I highly recommend it.
And also you're helping us like test drive what we might do in a live setting one day.
Yeah, that's the other thing we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Is having a live event. Yeah.
Which would be
I have lots
insane.
of ideas for that.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I think we've been brainstorming that for a while. Yeah, well, and it's funny too, it's like on that note too, I feel like I've been doing a lot more, and maybe it's just having my own space, having a house, where I don't feel, it's just a little easier to have people over, especially now that we're kind of getting settled. But obviously I've had you over, and we've done a lot of hanging out and a lot of trying to set up and figure out how we're going to shoot an actual video podcast here, that hopefully one day we'll release videos of. And and
it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen soon. Okay.
Yeah. But I feel like I've also been like, what's kind of like saved me from being read is the fact that I've been having like not once a week, but like a few times already. I've had like people come over. Like my buddy Logan came over a couple weeks ago, and we literally just like took a gummy and watched alien things on TV.
Yes.
And it was amazing. It was so fun. And then he sent me down this entire rabbit hole where I watched like 10 documentaries on alien abductions for like a week and a half. And then, and then my buddy Cody, our mutual friend at this point, Cody, he came over a few weeks ago, and we sat and watched we also got high and watched this show that's on Discovery called In the Eye of the Storm, and it's like all of these, like it's like all video that people captured themselves of like any massive like event that happened, whether it was a tornado that ripped through a town, or like a hurricane, or a massive, like an entire island in, what was it, Hawaii or Maui or wherever, that got the entire island caught on fire, and it was just like wild stuff like that. And so yeah, and then that sent me down that whole rabbit hole. Now I've watched all 2 seasons of that show. So it's just kind of funny. But I do kind of feel like it's weird how because I don't naturally, without thinking about it, I don't naturally want to just hang out with people with no agenda. But I've been like trying to practice that more often, of just like getting together, hang out with no real agenda except just to like hang out and talk and just see what happens. And that's been in a similar way. It's almost freeing and relaxing and very stress relieving in that way, because I love one-on-one hangouts anyway. It's my favorite. And then 2, when there's literally no expectations, and I went into it setting that expectation of no expectations at all on the night, I always have a lot more fun. It's just because then it doesn't matter. There's no agenda. So it's fine. And as a 5, that's hard to do. And so it's been kind of a fun exercise in that way of like practicing what it looks like to have no agenda, just be in the moment. So in a similar way, I kind of had that same exact practice.
Love it. You and I need to do that more.
Yes, we do.
I'm so just so everyone's aware, I'm going over tomorrow night, and we're going to record an episode again. But but we also need to figure out, I guess maybe when you get back from your trip, we can figure out how to like hang out and not do podcast stuff.
Yeah. Well, once we get everything set up and we're like cruising, then it'll be fine. It'll be easier.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the next segment here.
Yeah.
Current curiosities. So and I invite people who are watching to post in the comments to answer this question as well. What weird or interesting rabbit holes have you fallen into lately? So research, YouTube spirals, books, whatever. What's been lighting up your brain?
I should have opened up my Chat GPT conversations for this. If I just open up and read off the top Chat GPT like conversations, it's probably pretty easy to figure it out. I went into a deep dive on how they build sets for the show The West Wing, because I'm watching it with Madison right now and she's never seen it. And so I'm like, that can't be the real Air Force One. Like they did a really good job with it. And so then I went down this entire rabbit hole of how they built all those sets and how many times they reused those sets. It was just crazy. I went down this is a super domesticated of me, but I went down a crazy rabbit hole about mowers recently, which you know all about because you and like 3 other people tried to talk me into getting an electric one. I didn't, but I did get an electric weed eater. But I stuck with the gas mower. But honestly, I mean, yeah, I've been my for fun rabbit holes have definitely been like the storm things, which anybody who's been listening to the show for long enough and knows about like my weatherman song that I wrote. That's a whole story on that is not surprised about that. I will say, if you love storms, though, In the Eye of the Storm is some of the most incredible tornado footage I've ever seen in my entire life. It was insane. But yeah, the biggest one I've been doing lately is it's been like this space. I've been learning a lot about lighting and how to light someone's face. I'm obviously not there yet because if you're watching this, you can see Josiah's face and see my face, and there's obviously still a lot going on that's not in his, that's not in mine. But lighting and camera, like background stuff, trying to figure out like what I'm going to do with this space. It's not always going to be black, and I've decided to get away from all of that.
Just so everyone knows, so there's this light you can see here, this little
You're gonna
lamp.
nerd out about it.
It's called a practical. And it looks like that is lighting my face, like the side of my face. But it's actually not. It's not enough light to do that. I have a separate light just out of frame that's kind of like back behind me to the side. And it's acting as a rim light that's lighting like my back to separate me from the background. And it's creating a fill on the side of my face as well. You can see like when I move my hand kind of like right here, it blocks it. So that's how I'm able to look so good every morning.
Well, and your lights are a little different than mine too. I've been deciding on whether or not I should, because I know you had these lights that I have and you sold them, or you're gonna sell them, I guess.
I'm gonna sell them, yeah.
Yeah, and I've been considering something similar. I haven't decided, but I just don't like how they're almost like too diffused. It like washes out your whole face. I like how yours is actually a little more prominent, and so I don't know. We'll see.
I'll show you how I have. It's all about the angle of how you set it up.
Yeah. There's that too. And it might be a little too far away. But yeah, so there's, it's a whole, and when you start really nerding out on it though, like honestly, I'll tell you what sent me down this rabbit hole is when you were here the other day and we were talking about what I could do on this. And I immediately very, very quickly realized that black backgrounds a no-go. Everybody was like, if you got anything else, do anything else but black.
Yeah.
And so, because the reason why these are up here is these are literally just soundproof blankets, because what's behind this is like a washer and dryer and stuff, because it's like not a real space, just to like let everybody in on the secret. I've created a makeshift soundproof space so I can record and do stuff, and so I hung all of these curtains up to do that. But I'm gonna have to do something on top of this. Like maybe I did find white blankets that are exactly like this, but they're white.
Yeah, I wouldn't do white. If you can get like a light gray, that would probably be best.
Yeah, can't really find light gray,
or even like a charcoal would be better.
Yeah, maybe so.
Anyway, we don't need to get into all this now.
So yeah, that's my current curiosity. But you did this to me. You sent me down this particular rabbit hole. Yeah,
we'll have fun tomorrow night. We'll have fun tomorrow night then, because we got to finish setting up the lighting. Okay, so for me, I have been going down the rabbit hole on Pokemon.
Okay. I can kind of relate to this in a way, because I don't know why, I sent you some of these videos, I think. Somehow my Instagram feed, my like discover page or for you or whatever, became only videos of people opening up Pokemon packs.
That's so weird.
And I don't even care, but I keep watching them all the way through, which is what encourages it to give me more of them, because I love seeing all of these kids and people's reactions to the cards that they do get. And I give no shits about Pokemon, but to watch their reactions and get them and just see somebody get that excited about something, it's like, makes me feel something. Gives me that adrenaline, that dopamine push. Sorry, go ahead. I'll stop interrupting.
No, that's funny though. So I bought, last year for my birthday, I bought myself one of those, like knockoff, like Game Boy type little handheld games that has emulators on it and has like, 1,000 Game Boy advanced game and stuff like that.
Oh, you got me to get one.
And then yeah, I showed it to you. You're like, ooh. And so I started playing. And my brother's really into Pokemon. I feel like I just kind of just missed the Pokemon. Like I had some cards in like middle school, but I like no one I knew was into them, and so I didn't.
Yeah, that's how my brother was too. Yeah.
And but my younger brother was really into the Pokemon video game, and so he's also a nerd and a 5, and he will buy like old Game Boys, like actual Game Boys, and like refurbish them and mod them and stuff, and then buy the original game cartridges for things and stuff like that. So like he's really into it. And so since the kids got into the card game, one of the games I started playing on my like faux Game Boy was the Pokemon Emerald, like the emulated Pokemon Emerald.
Okay.
And it surprises me how addicting that game is, especially because I'm already like really familiar with all the Pokemon characters because we play the card game with the kids, and we collect them and stuff. And I kind of got sucked in though. It's actually really fun. And then I made the mistake. So we've been holding off on video games with the kids. They're still pretty young. We want to hold off as long as we can. And then I was like not getting it out until after they went to bed. And then one night I went and sat down on the couch with it, and then I had to go to the bathroom. So I set it down and I went to the bathroom. And as soon as I went in the bathroom, I know, as soon as I went in the bathroom, I heard the pitter patter of all three of them come into the living room looking for something. And then they're like, wait, what is that? And then they're like, Dad, what is this? No. So that ruined. And then, of course, they wanted to watch me play. And then that fairly quickly turned into them wanting to play. So we do this thing this is our Saturday morning ritual where a Saturday morning after breakfast, after I go do cold plunge and all this stuff, come back, have breakfast. And then they have to clean the living room and the dining room and do laundry and brush hair and brush teeth, and then they get to do 15 or 20 minutes of Game Boy time each. And so they play their little Pokemon Emerald and take turns, and so it's just become this like kind of fun little bonding thing that we do. And then they also watch me while I play mine. But I got to this point. So the way that it works is you go through these different towns or little cities in this huge map. Mm-hmm. And usually when you get to a new city, there's a gym, like a Pokemon gym. And you go through, and there's usually some sort of like maze or something, and you're battling different trainers. And then you get to the gym leader. And once you beat the gym leader, they usually get some sort of like gym badge, and you unlock some sort of new ability. And so I finally got to the psychic type gym leader, but it was a double battle, and they were and like I have not had any problems with any of the gym leaders up to this point. Mm-hmm. But I kept losing, and I'm like, how do I do, like, what am I missing here? And so then I went down like this long rabbit hole of figuring out, which types I needed to train up, which ones were available. And then I learned there's like all these different layers to the Pokemon in the Pokemon video game that I didn't know. Like each one can have one of 25 unique natures, like brave or sassy or quiet or something like that. Yeah. And they all affect their stats differently. Yeah. And so then I'm like, well, which Pokemon do I need here? And then what's their ideal nature? And then I had to go find like, I caught like 25 Electrikes so that I could train up to get the perfect nature, and I could train it up because I knew I was going to need it like later on. And it's just like, I went deep on this, and I realized like the thing that impressed me was I've been playing this game for a while. like off and on for months, and not realizing that there's all these other game mechanics, like levels, like layers down that I didn't even know were there, that were affecting, how and I'm like, man, if I knew all this, I would made completely different choices, that sort of thing. And so it was just, that's my way overwinded story of my rabbit trail.
Yeah, I will add to this and won't go nearly as deep as you did because we need to move on. But I did recently get into a game. I'm usually just like a first person shooter kind of person, just because I don't want to dedicate too much time into a video game. I don't have the patience usually. But I recently got an ad for this game that I found out was on consoles. It used to be only a PC game, I guess, called No Man's Sky. And I think you would really like this game, actually. But it's like one of those kind of games where like it's so incredibly expansive, and I don't usually play these kinds of games. So I like start out this game, and it's literally like completely open world. You can travel through different galaxies and universes, land on any planet, and discover planets, or maybe sometimes other people have discovered them. But it's online, so other people are in this game too. And you can come across different people at different markets and get them to like join you, or you join them to go do different things. But you build your own ships, and you can build ships big enough that then you can invite other people on them. So then they can build like these freighter ships and stuff, and like house all of your stuff on it. And you refine all this material and all these crystals and stuff to build things. So it's very similar in that way. But every time I play it, I'm like, how do these people have this shit? Like, how did you get that? And it's like, oh, they've been playing it because this game's 5 years old and they're still doing updates. So it's I mean, every time I try to look at all of the galaxies you can go to, it's so massive. I'm like, how did they do this? And it was free. It's a free game. So
wow.
But yeah, so I have been like diving into that pretty hard. That's the thing that I do when I late at night when I can't sleep and I just want to like zone out and do stuff. I'll like go onto this. I'll like land on a planet, and then it's like every planet has a different weather pattern and stuff. Sometimes like, oh, it's acid rain. You got to hide from it in a cave and wait it out before you can do other things. And I'll just be sitting there like mining shit for like an hour and a half. Yeah, it's just crazy.
I just recently introduced Amy to the show Mythic Quest.
Oh, so good.
So we've been watching
so
that.
good.
So as you're talking, like I'm thinking through all the mechanics of like how you'd monetize like a free game like that. And
yeah. And I thought about it that way too, actually, because that show is amazing.
I was really big into like Red Alert 2 and Civilization 4, I think, back in like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I played those games a lot, and it sounds kind of similar to that. Like basically you have to mine all this shit and build up like armies and build up different things. Yeah. I love that stuff. Okay, moving on. All right, Cody. Are Enneagram 5s good listeners?
See, I don't know if I'm the right person to ask for this because I also am on the spectrum. So like, yeah, but like depends on what you're talking about. Like I think that I have slowly, very slowly started to learn and pick up the skills of being able to like focus on what someone's actually saying and not be processing it in the background and analyzing it in the background. Sometimes I can't help it. It depends on the situation. I think that again, like if it's a no agenda, no expectations conversation, I can do that a lot easier than if I'm in a situation where like I'm a lot more aware of like body language and dynamics between people and what's happening. And if there is an ulterior motive that I have, whether it's, nefarious or not, like if it's just like there for work or whatever, like I have to go on a trip next week. As soon as I get back from my work trip, I have to immediately leave a day later on a family trip. I'm going to see my family. I immediately get back and go on a work trip to Nashville for 2 days with my entire team to go up to the Nashville team and meet with them and stuff. And I don't trust any of those bitches. So like, it's going to be very different from, I won't be able to like, I already know that it's going to be really hard for me to not tune out of what everybody's saying to be like trying to read the pretense,
That was a gender neutral bitches, by the way.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I should say I use that word interchangeably all the time. Yeah.
So essentially what I'm hearing then is you can be a good listener.
I can be.
Yeah.
But I'm not naturally. No. I don't wait. Well, and yeah, I think like I said, and it also depends. Are you hitting one of my like 3 or 4 pillars of interests. I mean, if you're going to talk about, Marvel, comic books, music, entertainment things, podcast things, lighting, I might really be tuning in. But if you're talking about like, I don't know, pretty much anything else, but but generally like emotionally heavy things that I know that I need to be present for, that I know I should be listening, I often don't. And I think, I don't think it's because I don't want to, it's because my brain, it's like if there's like a gas tank gauge, certain things use up more resources faster than others, in my opinion. And really emotionally heavy things tend to use up those resources very quickly. And then it's like, I need like a refill time. I need to like recharge for like, at least if it's a really heavy conversation, I find ways to insert breaks in that conversation so that I can like do anything else for just like a minute. I'm the same way with like really like, A24 is one of my favorite production companies, and they make movies, but they're a lot of times really heavy, really like getting to the core of like humanity and the human experience type movies. Like the movie The Whale is a good example of that. Like, get to the end of one of those movies and it's like, don't talk to me for a while. I need a recharge time for sure, because it's just, I have too much to process. But yeah, generally pretty hard for me to I wouldn't call myself a good listener. Like, I personally wouldn't call myself a good listener because I don't think that I listen good enough all the time to earn that title.
That's fair. Yeah. So I think that oftentimes other types think of us as good listeners because, one, we are naturally curious. We tend to be. And we tend to be very stoic.
We're quiet, we're observing, we ask good follow-up questions.
Because we're not always talking, unless we're, you get us on one of our deep interests. We tend to at least appear to be listening, which can earn us the badge of a good listener. And it's true. Like we can be amazing listeners if if one, we've worked at it, and two, like the environment is often we need to have like the environment to be just right. So like if we're not like mentally spiraling or disassociating because of like emotional responses. Another big one is like rehearsing our response in our head before instead of actually listening to what the person is saying.
Yeah, definitely.
Or another thing that I'll do is, as the person is talking, they'll say something that like piques my interest, or like and I'll be analyzing that thing. And as the person has continued talking and like moved on, and then I'll like my brain like rubber bands and like tries to catch up, but I know I haven't caught everything. And like,
and you're also like also equally disappointed that you can't now bring that thing up that you fully analyzed because it's so far past it. And you try to bring it up, and everybody's like, we were talking about like 10 minutes ago. I do that all the time actually. And I also, I find that I listen to people. I have conversations the same way I read books, which is that I'm reading and I'm just trucking along. I'm really, but then like I'll read a line, I'll read a word, and that piques my interest, and I'm thinking about that, but I keep reading. And then I'm like, shit, what was the last 2 paragraphs I just read? I need to go back and reread these 2 paragraphs because my mind wandered on whatever it was that I was thinking about from that one sentence that piqued my interest, or that one thing. And I was off over here, but I kept reading. And so I'm still thinking that I'm reading and thinking that I'm in that space, and I'm actually not. And I have to go back and reread the thing altogether because I wasn't even paying attention to what I was reading, and I was just like saying the words in my head. And so I think that I do the same thing with conversation for sure. It's like I think I'm listening, but my brain is actually elsewhere, and it's like at some point it's like I can't tell you what you were just saying for the last 5 minutes. Like I have no idea. And so
and the other thing too about this is important to understand. It's like it's not because we don't care.
No,
like we care. We want to understand others.
Generally,
we want to be understood.
Yeah,
and at the same time, like we we have that default of retreating into our mental space to process things, and that can pull us out of the moment to where we're not present. And to be like a good active listener, you have to be present in the moment, generally. So
yeah, it's a tough space to be in.
I will say that in my experience, that is a skill that we can definitely build and excel at with a lot of practice.
Yeah, and like and a lot of it is just being present, learning how to be present, and be like being able to, I guess, not shut your brain off, but fives understand what I'm saying. Like, shut your brain off enough to be able to, like, you're working on like minimal focus, or minimal processing. You shut down all the applications. Like you're just like, you're only doing one thing right now. That's by far one of the most incredibly difficult things for me to do in my life, because there's always at least 5 things going on in my brain right now. I'm having a hard time right now staying on track because I got too many things going on in my life. I'm literally like trying to be like, stop thinking about those things, Cody. We don't need to think about those things right now.
Yep, I get it.
Yep.
All right. Would you rather? Let's do this one.
Okay.
Also curious for anyone watching, would be curious to hear your take on this in the comments too. Would you rather be asked, what are you feeling right now, every hour on the hour, or have your internet speed throttled every time you try to research something?
I think I'd rather take the slow internet speed.
Oh,
I think I would, because there is nothing worse than repetitive behavior for me in that way. Like, it's just, it's irritating. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody asked me every hour on the hour how I was feeling, there is a point in which that person will cease to exist, because I will probably murder them. And so, like, I feel like for my own self-preservation and well-being, I should probably just take the slow internet, because there's books. I could find my way around that one. Like, I can conjure up an answer if left to my own devices long enough. But to constantly have to tell somebody how I'm feeling every hour and be like, the same way I was the last hour you asked me, like, my feelings don't change that often. That would drive me insane. I don't think I could do it. So in many ways, that's kind of an easy answer for me. It's an easy one to answer. What about you?
This one was a hard one for me. I don't think that there are a few things that frustrate me more than technology not working the way that it's supposed to work.
Agreed. Yeah.
And especially because, like, I'm very tech savvy, I've been in tech for a long time. And when something is so bad that it's really unintuitive, or it's like you just had one job and you're supposed to, like, you can't even do that well, like that stuff just it eats at my soul. And so I would have to go with the asking how I feel, because honestly, I'm married to a 4, so it's like, I feel
it's
like
already happening.
that's prepped me for that.
Well, okay. Well, let me ask you this. This might change my answer. Is the person who's asking me this every hour on the hour willing to accept the saying that, fine, I'm fine?
Well, that's not really a feeling.
But like, I'm good. I'm happy, or I'm content. Like, if there is no follow up to that answer, because, like, you know what I mean? Like, it depends. Like, how deep do they want to be talking about feelings every hour on the hour? If it's like just checking in, like, hey, how you feeling? I'm good. Okay, cool. Moving on. I'll take that for sure. I'll take that. But when I read the would you rather questions, in my mind, I'm thinking, this is somebody who is going to care way too much about what I'm feeling. And if they're caring too much about what I'm feeling, I don't want to talk to them about it. So,
oh man, that's That reminds me of the newsletter that I sent out this weekend, where basically we talked about how it's for us. It's not just as simple as a task or a thing to do or a question. In our mind, it's like, what is that question going to lead to? What is that task going to lead to? And then we go down that trail, and then we basically have to do energy calculus for all of that. And that's what's behind a lot of our decision making and a lot of our procrastination and avoiding things, is that we're doing all of that energy calculus just because it's not just the one thing. And it's not, it's somewhat based on reality, because we have found that oftentimes when we agree to something or we engage with something, it asks much more than we want to give. And then we have to make the decision of whether or not we sit with that and stay with that, or we try to find a way out of it without, and can we do that without hurting the other person's feelings, or do we care? And it's like, what is the situation? So there's a lot that goes into that, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see. I'm looking at the comments here. Gina says, internet throttled. I would end up getting frustrated of the same questions over and over again. Yep.
I feel you.
And then with the internet speed being slow, I would just get up and rage quit. And then Irene says, why on the hour?
Because that's what made you question it.
It's going to become a 15-minute emotions expo. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Well, we have our answers there. So did you change back to, if you just get to answer the question with whatever it is you're feeling with no follow-ups, you change to that?
I do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Keep my fast internet. Thank you. But now you know what would make me sacrifice fast internet.
All right. Last segment here. We've got growth versus comfort. So where have you chosen growth over comfort lately? So like showing up despite it being uncomfortable, and felt like you're growing in that direction. And then where did you default to comfort and withdrawal, maybe, where you think where there's an area for where you can grow?
Yeah, this is the one segment that I wish I had more time to think about. I feel like there's some there's some of this I've probably touched on already in this conversation, where I feel like putting myself in opportunities of being, because sometimes, I was talking earlier about how freeing it can be to not have an agenda or not have expectations on a situation, but that's also, like, for many fives, a terrifying situation. Like, are you going to show up to a party where you have no idea what the agenda is? No.
The agenda for the party.
You know what I mean? Like, what's it about? What are they going to do? Like, a get together, some type of small group situation, where you're like, I have no idea what the plan is and what they're planning on doing this evening, but I'm just going to show up. No, definitely not. I need to know, when does this thing start? When do you think it's going to end? Is there going to be food? And what is that food? Are we expected to, are we going to do like a sit in a circle and talk about ourselves situation? Like, whatever the case may be, like, I need to know so that I am mentally and emotionally prepped for this. And so I think putting myself in situations lately where I don't have a clue how it's going to go and you just do it anyway has been definitely a little bit of a challenge for me. But like I said earlier, it's also been like a good thing, because it's challenged me to be more in the moment and more not so much in my head a lot, which it's been great. I think I've also too just been trying to embrace feeling emotion instead of processing emotion, which we've talked about so many times on this show as a whole. And I've always agreed with whatever we say. But to feel it, to put it into your life practically on a regular basis, and not just when it like when you can really like emphasize it or like call back to it, because I feel like there's times where I'm like, oh, I really did that in this moment, but to do it on like a daily basis and make it a normal practice is a whole different conversation. And that's something that I feel like I've been trying to do on a lot more regular basis, and also just let myself really dive into things and not procrastinate them, or like I'm jumping around to topics a little bit, so this is not the same thing. I think that a lot lately I've been like, like I always feel like talking about energy calculus, I try to like compartmentalize a lot of my life based on what is going to take the most energy and prioritize. It's like spinning all the plates, and you're just trying to decide which one's going to take the most energy to keep spinning and which ones aren't. And so the ones that aren't, I'll put those in the back burner for now. We'll like let those kind of do their thing for a minute, and then I'm going to really focus on these things that are like really struggling. And I've found that it's actually a bit like especially with work is a great example. Like it's easy for me to kind of become on autopilot, especially when I start getting burned out on something, and just start checking out. And so like, it was like about a month ago, I was in a place where I was like, okay, this autopilot's not going to work. It's not getting better. So like I have to do something different. And so instead of like checking out or I don't know, looking for a new job, I decided to give it a go and like really try to like give it my all, and try to. I hope you can't hear this plane flying over my house. I didn't know that where I was living was like right under where planes are taking off at this airport. That's gonna be fun in podcast recording.
Just add some texture to it.
It sounds like every once in a while there's just a UFO landing on top of us. It's just like it's massive engine. What was I saying? Oh.
I don't know. I wasn't listening.
Diving into my job to try to make it better, and putting myself in uncomfortable situations, because like the way to make my job better, my particular job, is the worst possible thing for a 5 to do. It's literally basically door-to-door sales. Like it's like the only way to make it better is I grab a few bottles that I want to focus on, or what, like maybe, my boss or home office, our company wants us to focus on. I put them in a bag and I start going account to account and being like, hey, try these. You want to bring them in this week? Like, obviously there's more to it than that, but it's constantly putting myself out there in a way that is uncomfortable for me on a regular basis. But I have found that this particular time around, when I understood what needed to be done, and I understood what goals I was after and what results I wanted to get, it actually was a little bit easier, and it is easier than the last time I did it. I'll say that. It was like, I think because I've been regularly doing this at a little bit at a time, it was easier to put myself out there in a way that made me uncomfortable. And in the same way, and it's funny, but it's just the things that we do all the time. In the same way, I had a gig recently where I was on stage singing, obviously. But I found that the thing that I've always struggled with on stage is like small talk, like just filling space between songs, talking about myself, talking about songs, trying to find the right things to say. And so instead of doing that, what I've been really trying to do lately is just be myself in front of a microphone. And because I know deep down in my gut, I've always known that that's what needs to happen, but I've always never wanted to do that. And as a 5, I constantly like calculate what I think's going to be funny, what I think people are going to latch onto, what I think people want to hear. And I've done that for years. And what I found is that if I just say what's on my mind and just say it like I'm talking to a person and not a room full of people, it goes a lot better. And I've been doing that. I had a few gigs this past couple weeks.
So basically podcasting.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, because practicing that on a podcast, I would like to think listening to me now versus listening to me when we first started in our first 12 episodes is a very different Cody you're listening to, right?
Very different, yeah.
And so, hell, you were just saying, what was it at the end of when we were still doing seasons, end of season 4? You're like, God, you talk so much more now. Yeah, and I always talk this much. It's just a matter of getting it in the right situation and being able to turn it on. And I say turn it on, but really it's just, you know, getting to a place where I'm comfortable in my own skin enough to where I don't have to turn it on or turn it off, but it just happens and I want to do it. And it's helped my job. It's definitely helped my music, like gigs and stuff. I felt like I've been like connecting to strangers a lot more that are hearing me for the first time. That's something that's been really encouraging. Maybe I'll eventually be able to extend that authenticity to like social media. We'll see. I'm working on it. Everybody can follow me and you can let me know if I'm being feel authentic or not. All right, I'm done. What about you?
If you want, I can just start coming to your shows and heckling you, and that'll help.
Hey, you know, fun story. I just played at Miller Park the other day for this thing that they did where they were featuring local music, and I played at this park on the stage, and this guy came up and decided he wanted to be a part of the show, and he rushed the stage and had to get arrested while I was playing. So you can't be worse than that. I kept playing like a pro, I might add. Oh man, it was fun though. It was a different story. That's quite the story. Somebody got a picture of him where as he was getting pulled off the stage, he was flipping off the entire crowd, and it was so while I'm just playing in the background, and I was like, that's an amazing. As soon as they said they got the picture, I was like, please find me on Instagram and send that to me. I need to have that picture.
That's amazing.
All right, what about you?
All right. I think a big area for growth that I've noticed for me is that the whole process of launching Fully 5, I didn't overthink it. And it was actually easy and fun. And I've been trying to now I'm like trying to overthink it by analyzing it afterwards. Like, what was different about this? And I don't think I've quite unpacked it all the way, but I think I set myself this is something I've done in the past, which can stress me out, but it's effective, which is like I set myself a public deadline. And I'm like, okay, well, this is the date when it's launching. And I've started telling people this now, and so it has to like this. So then I work backwards, like, okay, what all has to go into this in order to launch it. But I think one of the things that really helped me was, part of the process is, before anyone can join, they have to get on a phone call with me. One, I just want to make sure that there's no mismatch in expectations around like your goals and making sure that you're a good fit. Two, also like I want to make sure that the people that we're bringing in are the right fit, because it's a really special group that we have. But from that, I'm getting to have these one-on-one conversations with people, whether or not they join, and that has been really good. Like I've just been really enjoying getting to know people in the community. Like at that level, and I've done some one-on-one calls in the past, but I'm realizing like I want to do more of that, even outside of the accelerator. Like I want to, as time allows, because my schedule's kind of crazy, but do more just random one-on-one calls with people who have been engaging in the community, and just to get to know them better. And I love hearing people describe their experience as a 5 in their own words, which is why we include them in the episodes, and it's not just us talking in like the regular episodes, because we like it just adds this like extra texture and richness to the conversation. It's always my favorite part of the episodes, and so getting to do calls, I think, helped a lot with that, and my enjoyment of the whole process. On the flip side of that, I still have not done any promoting outside of our like community and current like email list. And so, and it's one of those things where it's like I'm still dragging my feet on creating Instagram reels,
Yeah.
where I've done all of the other stuff pretty much that's necessary in order to start, going all in on Instagram, except actually making the content. Like I know what I'm going to say. I have all the stuff mapped out. Like we finally figured out like how we want to like, use the different accounts and all I have to do is just sit down and record and hit publish, and still drag. But I'm at the point now where it's like, that is the last thing to do, and I have to do it.
Yep.
So I'm just going to do it this week. So I'm going to start recording those this week. I said it publicly here, so you guys can hold me accountable. But yeah, that's the place where I still have some. I've been sliding back into comfort and choosing that over growth. So.
Yeah, I mean, same. We're both, social media is both of our downfall for sure. It's just the worst. But I've been trying to figure out how to like find ways to make it not the worst, which I think is what you're saying. Like find ways to use social media for what it was actually intended to be, which is to create a community around shared interests. And so, for me doing it with music and stuff, I've been trying to be more myself, and you can create channels on Instagram now. So I've been creating channels. I created one that's just for like all of my creation stuff and songwriting and all of that stuff. So I could maybe even go live in that channel with people who are interested and do it in smaller groups first to see how I can kind of feel it out. I have one that's just for memes or shit posting, as people like to call it. And so it's like, I figured out avenues to do it where it's like, it's fun for me to do it that way. And so like, maybe there's a way for you to do that as well. I don't know, but like that's definitely where I'm trying to grow as well, is like trying to figure out how to be comfortable in my own skin enough to do it. Because that's at least my hesitation for not wanting to do it, is that like really putting yourself out there to like the whole world, and the internet is a incredibly cruel place. And so it's like, I don't know if I want to jump into that cesspool, it's just like, it's hard. It's really hard to want to, because there's some cruel people out there. People get real bold when they can do it anonymously.
Yeah, at the same time, though, like I've only experienced that a little bit, and it's only really been on Facebook.
That's true.
It's not been on Instagram.
And I give no shits about being on Facebook.
Yeah, I'm not doing anything on Facebook.
No, definitely not.
But on the flip side of that, like we've gotten a ton of like comments and messages over the years from the stuff we have put out that
it's true
are very encouraging. Like
we really have no excuse as to why we're putting it off. We've had nothing but love and everybody being like, this is amazing. Why are we not putting stuff out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's coming. We're going to be doing, so I've got my account that this is the thing that I was avoiding for a long time, was actually using my personal account, but I'm going to start using my personal account, creating content that's more based on the Fully 5 stuff that we're doing in the accelerator. And then we're going to be chopping up the video into a bunch of clips to put on the Enneagram 5 podcast account.
And hopefully if people see our faces more often in videos, they'll be able to tell our voices apart.
Hopefully.
Since that's a very common thread through this entire show.
Well, that is the end of our segment here. So
way to land the plane.
We're past time, so I'm just gonna like rough segue here. Thanks for coming and hanging out. We enjoyed having you guys in the comments. And yeah, Irene says yes, that would be helpful to seeing our faces more. So
here we are.
All right, here we are. We are here for everyone on this YouTube stream, but we disappear for hereafter because you only get the audio version if you're listening to the podcast.
Yep. All right. Until next time.
All right. See you, everybody.
Bye-bye.